Thank you very much, fellow Africans. I am once again profoundly honored to present to you our 38th episode of the Change for African campaign. So, therefore, fellow Africans, being on Wednesday, as usual, about our five pillars of the Change for African campaign, we discuss about our third pillar, which is about the resources that we own as an African continent. And so, fellow Africans, with respect to our area of focus this week, an African thing, the African continental free trade area, that is aimed at boosting the intra-African trade. They had a projection that by 2025, which we are in now, they should have increased the intra-African trade to about 52.3%. We're already in 2025, so we still have a lot to do since 2018 actually, when it was first, well, the first milestone was reached up to in Kigali, Rwanda. And so, fellow Africans, being on a Wednesday about the African continental free trade area, allow me, since it's about resources, one of the very things that the African continental free trade area was aiming at was to see that Africa is a self-reliant continent in terms of because currently Africa imports a lot. Because looking at the statistics about that, at around 396 billion US dollars are used to export things out of Africa. That is what we get as revenue. But then looking at the imports, it costs much higher. We have a deficit of about 25 billion dollars. That is much still. Looking at most of these things that we import, I think that actually the resources are gotten from Africa, and then these are materials that are taken out, or we have the resources taken out of Africa. If it's minerals, they're mined here in Africa, and then taken to those other continents and countries, and they go manufacture devices and instruments and whatever it is, then they bring them back. That is what the current state of Africa is. But then the main one of the main focus of the African continental free trade area was to see Africa being able to rely on its resources in terms of they are able to utilize their resources. And then these resources are used now in the industries in Africa to such that we do not just export raw minerals or raw materials to go and manufacture things in other countries or around the globe, but then we are able to mine our own minerals or our own resources and then refine them here in our own industries in Africa, and then be able to export them. And so it is still an issue of wait and see, because we are still importing much that are supposed to than exporting. But so that creates what we call the deficit. Or the deficit continues to widen because because of how we import much than what we export. Because this one now becomes a very main it becomes an immune thing, whereby immune is down, because since you are importing much, it means you're exporting, and what you are getting from your exports is less than what you are what you are getting from your exports is less than what you are importing, because you import using a huge sums of money than what you get from exports. So it's a trade deficit. So the African continental free trade area, with its main aim of boosting the intra-African trade, whereby Africans are able to trade among themselves in a more profitable way. It is a thing of wait and see. We have a lot of minerals in Africa, but then our minerals are taken to other continents and countries. They go manufacture devices and then they are brought back. So that is what we call importing. We import, if you see the kinds of things the African continent still exports, very mean things, Of course, we do export flowers, but look at the magnitude that you can get from exporting flowers and a country that exports vehicles, exports electric vehicles, These are two different things. So, and speaking about vehicles, we have a lot of minerals that are taken here in Africa and then taken to other countries. They go manufacture their, motor vehicles, and then they come back as imports, and we use a lot of money to import them, whereas the resources we have them. So it is time to utilize our resources as an African continent, just to make sure that the trade deficit of those $1 billion is cut short, and we are able to be self-reliant, refine our own minerals first in our own industries before we export them, because it is our obligation to utilize our minerals, because we have a lot of them, instead of continuing to give people minerals, and then they go actually it's a beneficial to them more than it is to us. So let us utilize our minerals as an African continent. So the African continental free trade area should continue to make sure that Africa is a self-reliant continent, that Africa relies on its minerals, and we're able to utilize our minerals in the strongest way possible to be able to benefit us first. Let us mine our own minerals. Let us be able to utilize them, refine them in our own industries before we export them. Let us be able to export finished products instead of exporting just minerals. We can be able to export finished products to other countries, and Africa, we have the potential, and because we have the resources, and that is why we are discussing about resources. The African continental free trade area, and take a look at our resources, make sure that the African people are able to benefit from their resources directly. Thank you. Have an interesting afternoon probably. Let's meet tomorrow, being on Thursday, as we discuss about our fourth Wheel of the Change for African campaign, which is about the living standards of our people in Africa. Thank you, and God bless you.